Fishing the Wild West TV with Wes David is brought to you by Tracker Boats, Fish the Finest, Adventure Destinations. Book your trip of a lifetime with Adventure Destinations and Thompson's Resort. Big Chief Meat Snacks, big taste, big adventure. Along with Cam Clark Ford, the official vehicle of Fishing the Wild West TV.
Living a dream, fishing the streams, fishing the wild.
She's getting a little western on the deck. Welcome to this week's episode of Fishing the Wild West TV. We're in northern Saskatchewan with Adventure Destination International at one of their many outpost camps. We're doing a self-guided trip on Bills Lake for monster northern pike. Bills Lake is one of the best northern pike fisheries I've ever experienced, and I'm happy to be back. Stay tuned for monster northern pike on Bills Lake. I don't know what I got here in the river system, but it feels a little heavy. It's hard to tell a lot of times because you're also fighting the current. Could be a big walleye or just, oh, he's a decent pike. Keep him away from the boat. Keep him out of the rocks, out of the motor. Get my boat ready, or my net. So what we've done is we moved from the last river system, which was an inlet going from the lake into the river. Here, we're at an outlet. So it's coming from the river out into the lake, and it's all the same setup. You can see we're just fishing deep pools where these fish are laying in wait to ambush bait. And that's exactly what he ambushed. And again, just stacked up in these rocks at the inlets, outlets of all the river systems. And these fish can be fished from shore too. If you're a shoreline angler, it's just simply, you know, the techniques that we're showing you on today's episode will help you from hanging up. And one thing I really want to show you that we've been jigging with these pike, especially in the rocks, is the Spinno from Buzz Bomb. For 2 or 3 reasons. One, they're tough. They're painted, quality paints. It doesn't chip off. It stays lots of flash and vibration. When you jig them, they fall fast. Because of their streamlined profile, they don't hang up in the rocks as much as, say, even a ball head jig or, you know, a spoon or anything else. They come through the rocks. If they do snag, you give them a few flicks, out of the rocks they come. And a lot of times, as soon as they come free of the rocks, that's when the fish hit them. Just a half a dozen casts after that one I just landed and showed you. I'm just fan casting up river and then bringing the lure back to me. I think I got another decent one on here. They'd be stacked up in here feeding on walleye, on small pike. They're cannibalistic. They don't care. They eat everything. And any other bait fish going through here, including your lures, if you make it look like a natural presentation. And that's what you can do in here. Like with the bobber fishing and the jigs, you can make it all move the same speed as the current. So it's a natural looking presentation to the fish. There's another great one. Right full of walleye and who knows what else. Again, half a dozen casts after we release that other one. Get her safe. We got her out of the net. And man, there are gnarly looking fish. And these big fish like this, any fish, don't hold them up by the gill plate. Support their bellies. Take your quick picture. Get him back in the water. I didn't even measure them. Thanks. it really doesn't matter to me, the measurements. They're all beautiful fish, and like I've said before in the past, regardless of where you're fishing, when you're catching those small ones, often referred to as hammer handles or sluice sharks, be gentle with them, because that's what they're going to be one day. Big or small, take care of them all.
This segment has been brought to you by Rock Guard, protect your investment, and Power Pole, total boat control. Closed captioning is brought to you by BuzzBomb Tackle, iconic sonic fishing lures, made in North America for over 50 years.
This feels like a decent fish too. Like again, it's hard to tell in the current. Whoa, he swam right at me. Right over here. And this is typical of any river fishery. Get in these mouths, and they might not all be this big. I mean, we're here at Bill's Lake, so this is what we expect. But regardless of where you are, there are going to be decent fish everywhere. The mouth of these rivers, whether it be the mouth, inlet, or outlet, it's a great area to fish. And again, you can fish them from shore. We're in a boat, but we're 3/4 of a cast from shore. There's another beautiful fish. And this was one cast, 2 casts after landed the big one. Again, treat them all with respect, because the next guy, regardless if you're here at Bill's Lake or if you're at a public lake or river system, give them the opportunity to catch those fish. And pike are really important for our fisheries. They get a bad rap because they're such aggressive predators, but they're really important to our fisheries, and they're a lot of fun to catch. You know, I don't get to do it a lot, river fishing for pike and walleye. And even when you do it, you think of a river and you think of the trout species. But it's incredible opportunities in the river systems. And they seem to me stronger fish because they're always fighting the current. And even the walleye, like a 2-pound walleye in the lake or the reservoir compared to a 2-pound river walleye, no comparison. Just the fight is incredible. This here is a pike for sure. Those big ones, when they take your lure, like the small ones go crazy and they go nuts. The big ones just kind of grab it and they just want to leave. Like you've heard people talk about, oh, I hooked a log, and that's kind of what it feels like. And they just try to leave. Worst thing you can do is tighten up your drag. Make sure it's set, because you don't want to break them off. And most fish, regardless of the species, are broke off because anglers get excited and they start tightening up. I mean, within reason, but just enjoy the fight. Oh, I dropped my liquid, man. This fish has been drinking Revita tea, I think. He's energized. Nope. Nope. 20-pound sunline braid, 50-pound steel leader, and a medium heavy action rod. And when we go for lake trout, I can use this same rod and have confidence in landing, 20-pound lake trout. But again, just enjoy the fight. You don't want them in here in your net messing around any more than he has to. You definitely don't want them beating off the boat. Whoa! That is, keep them in the water. See where that hook is? That's a beautiful fish. I can't wait to show this fish to you. There's what's in the river systems in 7.5 feet of water, probably resting up on in 3 feet of water. This is incredible. Northern pike. I didn't measure it. I have no clue. And away she goes. Oh. Right now we drifted to 4.5 feet of water, and that's probably what she was resting in. Up there along that bank, just cast it and swimming the lures back to us. I think they're in there where they got this current is moving oxygen-rich water, bait, and it's a nice sunny day out. So I think they're up there shallow sunning themselves. Where there's one, there's usually more.
This segment has been brought to you by Hooked Magazine, hooked on fishing in the great outdoors, and Lucky Bug Lures. Get hooked on Lucky Bug Lures. This segment is brought to you by the City of Airdrie, big city amenities with that small town feel, and gill fishing, anywhere, all conditions.
No, this is not a little fish that I thought it was. I can't tell you how many times I've had big pike take my lure, like this one here, and I thought it was a 2 or 3 pounder. They just pick it up, and like I said, they pick it up and they just swim away with it, and you know you have a fish, but until you put a little resistance on them, they don't care. They're just leaving. Again, the river right up here. We went up, drifted down, and we've caught pike all the way along. You can see this rock wall. It's about 6 feet deep on one side, 2 feet on this side. Same with this one here, and I just cast it into that pool. There's a nice calm pool over there, and she's laying in it. Yeah, she's a great pike. I want to get her landed, take care of her, show her to you, and then go back there. I wish you could have felt how she bit, because you would have thought it was a 2 or 3 pounder, which you catch all day long. It's a lot of times catching them, these big ones got to beat the small ones to it, but just picked it up and left. In the winter months when I can't go open water fishing, these are the times I remember just the sound of that reel, the pressure on the line, the sight of her. That's a beautiful looking fish. Look at her out of the water. Those are the things I remember in the winter months. Again, that's a number 2 Len Thompson lure on there. I don't go anywhere without, number 2 is my favorite, but anywhere without a Len Thompson. Oh, come here, sweetheart. Oh, she helped me, thank you. Oh. Huh, that can't be good. That's a heavy fish. Oh no. Well, my fault having a heavy fish like that in the net, and I was resting the net over the edge and it broke. However, I saw her and she was less than a foot from the boat, so she counts. She was in the net. That's a great release. I didn't have to touch her. We saw her, hooks out, she's swimming free. Yeah, it's a walleye. Holy cow, you really wanted it. Nice walleye. Just fought an incredible pike, northern pike, right to the boat, and which I'm sure you're all still chuckling about. And this guy hit it harder than that pike hit it. Barbless hooks. He's got it right in the corner of his mouth. Right, I mean, we're 50 yards from where I set the hook on that big pike. He's there. And that's probably why that pike was too heavy for my net. He's been feeding on those walleye.
Wild Cookhouse is brought to you by Wild West Seasonings, home of award-winning seasonings, marinades, brines, and batters.
When you come up these outpost camps in northern Saskatchewan with Adventure Destination International, there's more to the fishing. Whenever you come up, there's usually something in season. Mint, which goes great in a lot of recipes or a lot of adult beverages, or even your water. Or there's raspberries, and in this case, blueberries. These are going to join me for breakfast this morning. So as you see on the Wild Cookhouse, it's not always about eating meat. Fresh blueberries on my oatmeal, and tonight we're going to have walleye fillet for supper.
Fishing the Wild West TV will be right back. This segment is brought to you by Big Sky Flies and Jigs, tackle you can trust, and Tourism Saskatchewan. Start planning your visit today.
There's sometimes I just don't understand fish species or fishing. We just landed those big pike, and I just caught a walleye. I mean, if I lived amongst all those big pike, matter of fact, I wouldn't live amongst all those big pike. Is this walleye? There's no way I would hang out where he is. Maybe he's just passing through. Just a nice walleye mixed in with monster pike. I just don't get it.
This Gear Talk is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
On this episode for Northern Pike, we threw one of my favorites, the #2 Len Thompson lure. I use this a lot when I'm fishing Northern Pike and a variety of other species. I find it the perfect size to trigger bites even from inactive Northern Pike. You can go with the #6 for rainbow trout and grayling, or you can go all the way up to the #4 Len Thompson, which are ideal for trolling, casting, and retrieving for large lake trout. I often get asked, what's the magic behind the Len Thompson dimpled series? Well, that magic is the actual dimples. They have a concave portion in the back of the lure, the raised portion in the front, and that water rushes into one dimple and crashes into the water that's leaving another dimple. That creates a thunderous vibration through the water column, which attracts the species to come in to see what's going on. The next time you're fishing for your favorite species, tie on a Len Thompson dimpled series. Did you also know Len Thompson Lures is home to the Northern King? Originally designed on the East Coast for salmon and lake trout, the Northern King is also a great lure for northern pike, walleye, and a variety of trout species, regardless of the depths you're fishing. Now, when I'm fishing northern pike in the shallows, say in the spring of the year, or even bass, largemouth bass, the Northern King is a light lure, really light, narrow profile, but still allows you long, accurate casts and swims a lot like a wounded bait fish. These are great lures for the spring of the year for a variety of species. These lures are also Canadian made and hand painted by the name you trust, Len Thompson Lures and Northern King. And if you didn't know, Len Thompson Lures does custom lures. You can put your logo on there, literature, or even your favorite colors to catch your favorite species. Len Thompson Lures, Canadian made and trusted by anglers from around the world for over 90 years. One more cast. Last cast syndrome. Make sure when you come up here to Bill's Lake, when you book your trip to Bill's Lake with Adventure Destination International, you'll have the whole lake to fish, like it's non-stop fishing. But make sure you take in the rivers. This is right behind camp. River right behind camp. And then maybe 5 minutes from camp, there's an outlet river. And that's the one you go up to fish for the grayling. In the first half of our Bills Lake, we went for the Grand Slam. Grayling were part of it. That's where they are. But all these big pike, great walleye fishing, are all within the river systems. And again, camp is right there, and the other one's maybe 5 minutes away. You won't burn a cup of gas to get to them. And there's these ones and bigger on just about every cast. Got the hook out of them.
Sometimes it feels like heaven.
Like I say, that all day long, and mixed in with them, a 40, 45, 50-inch northern pike. There is no end to them, and they're all strong, healthy fish. That's this week's episode from Bills Lake in northern Saskatchewan with Adventure Destination International. You like what you've seen? Follow us on social media or through the pages of Hook Magazine. Until next week, I'm your host, Wes David.
Fish in the Wild West.